Oh, gosh. This one. I looked at this. This was a suggestion by the dean over here as far as a topic of conversation. And I think this may be another chance for you guys out there who are in the market to buy or sell real estate to get your pencil and paper out. The topic today is ready, fire, aim. And for those of you who missed it, fire usually goes last and now it's second. And overall, it's simplifying the buying process.
I was going to say, how does that?
Ready, fire, aim.
What's wrong with that?
So, Scotty, you're gonna talk about how sometimes the process gets a little
bungled.
Bungled. We're going to bungle the flow again.
We're bungling the flow.
This is a January theme. It's a bungled flow. And I just keep thinking of Manfred Mann and Bungle in the Jungle. Or is that Jethro Tull?
And that's bungle, guys. Bungle.
Bungle?
Just making sure for you dirty-minded people out there.
Anyway.
You know what? I'm going to copyright that so that I can get a little ching every time you use it.
Good luck with
Beavis
that.
and Butthead reference.
Scotty, why do so many people fire before they aim?
Mostly misinformation. This stemmed from a conversation that I had. Actually, I had a reader of the website of Homeownership University drove down from Fresno.
Shut up!
I swear.
Just to ask you this question.
No, he said that we were the first stop. He just stopped in. He didn't call me and tell me. They read the website all the time, and his grandfather lives close by, so he was going to kill two birds with one stone. But he said he came down to kind of make sure we were real.
I thought you were going to say he was going to kill you.
No.
Did he have all of his teeth?
Super cool guy. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
The Fresno reference?
No.
The California Central Valley reference? Big Bag Frank?
He was he was a teacher up north, and he was reading the thing. And so we started having this conversation, and the conversation was basically about his lending situation and how he could afford, because he lived in a very small place now and they had to move up. But of course he has challenges with equity like so many people do. And so we wanted to know how to purchase a bigger home, move up, while he still owns this other home. So we had a conversation about all of the details of that, and what he kept interjecting into the conversation was, well, I've got this, we've got this house that we really that we want to make an offer on. And we've seen it a couple of times, and my agent's showing me all these houses, and I kept saying, wait a minute, why is an agent showing you houses when you're not in a position to buy? There's no way you're in a position to buy.
Because he's desperate for a commission.
No, it's the agent. Right,
yes.
Right. Well, and here's what I'm running into
not the buyer.
But here's what I'm running into over and over again is that the agents are working with a lender that will just give them a letter, a pre-approval letter. And right. I swear I have to get this question at least 5 times a week. Oh, I have a pre-approval letter, but then when I went through the process, the lender declined me. And then when they explain the story to me... So
let's stop real quick, because we've talked about this before. Pre-approval versus...
Means nothing. Pre-approved. Or pre-qualified versus pre-approved.
Right.
And, and it's such a tough thing, because what this really comes down to is, as a consumer, I don't know how you would ever know the difference. Mm-hmm. And I just don't know.
You listen to our show, that's how you know the difference.
Yeah, right. I mean, educate yourself. And I don't know the answer to this, but I think awareness is a first step, because, we run into this all the time where these consumers
they're going backward. They're shopping first and then finding your money
and what
after.
happens is they see a house that they fall in love with, and then when they come to get pre-approved, and Scott, you and I talked about this, now they have something to lose.
Right.
And there's an expectation that's set where if you're doing it reverse, and there's a lot of smart consumers out there that do this, where they get the pre-approval first because they want to know what they can afford, because they don't even want to look at anything above that. And they don't come from a place of losing something. They come from only gaining something.
Right.
And you really, as an agent, you only set your client up for failure. And there really is, when you take them out like that.
Right.
Is that the basis of this particular topic? Is that what we see is people jumping out there and looking at homes that, number one, they're not qualified for or may not be right for them, just to get the process started?
Well, it's just not doing things in the right order. There's a specific order, and if you're going to purchase a home, you better have either a huge pocket full of cash or bank financing.
You're trying to learn how to run before you can walk.
And there's so many indecisive borrowers out there who are working 5 or 6 lenders just every day trying to see who's going to give them the best rate while they're still shopping and haven't solidified their lending. And one of my good friends is doing that right now.
And you know what they're doing? They're stopping at the person that says, sure, I can do that.
Yeah.
And that's usually the person that's not telling them the truth.
Right.
Well, not always, but I mean, there's really this process to it, and it absolutely blows my mind that there are lenders out there that are willing to tell people, yeah, go ahead and start shopping, when the reality is they didn't put any effort into determining whether this person actually qualifies.
Yeah.
And why would you put somebody through that emotional roller coaster of thinking they're going to buy a home? Then the consumer walks out of it saying, oh, I'm just going to wait for a year. I can't handle this right now. I've been let down too many times.
And that kind of purchase, that's the kind of purchase that takes a while and things get complicated and things go wrong. At the end of the year, when we talked about what we learned in 2011, I mentioned to you that it's so important to work as a team.
Right.
And working as a team means you as a borrower or buyer need to make a commitment to a lender, commitment to an agent. The agent needs to make a commitment to you. The lender needs to make a commitment to you, and you all have to work together in unison, or so many things can go wrong, And that's not happening a whole lot. You're getting sporadic. The buyer's got this agent this week and this agent that week.
I see that a lot.
Then this lender this week, and then that lender says they can do that, and they don't even really know that lender can do it. You need to make a commitment.
And listen, here's
a decision.
This is where the responsibility really does fall on the consumer, and this is why it's so important. If you're golden or not. If you've been at your job for 30 years and you have tons of money in the bank and your credit scores are perfect. That you have options. If you know that there might be challenges, if you're not sure if you're going to qualify for a loan and you go in there and one person says no and the other person says yes, the person that said yes probably didn't really pay that close attention.
Let's just say this. If you're trying to be sneaky, it's not going to work. Okay.
Well, actually, it will work all the way up until
you need the money.
No, it will work. Yeah, it'll work all the way until you've spent your money on your appraisal, on your inspection, and you're about a week away from close, and your deal dies, and you're stuck with exactly what you qualified for in the beginning.
Yep.
And you're hosing yourself, really.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. It's you can only fool yourself. Fool me once. Let's do the George Bush.
I always tell my buyers to have the lender put the rubber glove on and just know everything.
Wow. Thank you for that visual.
Anything and everything,
Frank.
No, because I tell them at some point in underwriting they're going to find out about that gym payment that you didn't make in the past 20 years. Something's going to come back to bite you.
Right.
So tell them all the worst, the terrible. Open the closet, pull the skeletons out. Because anything better than the bad is good.
And just remember, we are on your side, and it's our job. We're kind of like the bridge. It's our job to figure out what your situation is, what your goals and what you want to accomplish, and we know what the bank wants and what the rules are. So it's our job to find the hole to put you in, the right piece.
So can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
If I'm a consumer and I'm working with a real estate agent for the first time, and this process doesn't begin the right way, can I assume that I may not be with the right real estate agent? If they don't send me, because I know that I've had this conversation with Joanne and Gina, who are the Coastal team, and they big supporters of the show, but they always, the first thing they do is send their people to Elisa, as a matter of fact. But they send them to the lender first to determine the process. If I start the process with Realtor B and they go, let's get in the car and go find houses. Where do you want to live? Can I just assume right there, red flag?
This isn't my guy. Yeah.
Yes. That's a tough one. But I would say
it's 80-20 principle.
I would say absolutely yes, because that person is more concerned about making you feel obligated to work with them than they are you actually being able to qualify. Than about you. It's more about them than it is you.
Sometimes in our segments, there's a nugget, and I think the nugget that came out of this segment was if you start working with an agent. Now, I'm not talking about an agent that's you've known and worked with many times over and over again. That's different. But if you're working with an agent for the first time, and the first thing they do is say, "Let's go look at houses," you're with the wrong person, and that's something that consumers don't get. But hopefully, now they'll get it.
Right.
I have a lot of agents who would actually say otherwise. They know they need to get pre-approved first, but they'll take them to see something. They'll send them some properties and this kind of gives you a little insight of what they're, some people will be thinking, to get you invested and to get you hooked. So they kind of give you a little teaser. Heroin. So that you know that you want it. If you're on the fence, they send you a little teaser so that they know that, I do want to buy, and then they send them over to the lender.
Now, there are situations where real estate agents have a lot of experience.
Yeah.
They can talk to you if they start asking you questions about your financial situation,
and they can gauge.
And they can gauge that you're probably a qualified buyer.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But,
Again, 80-20 principle.
Exactly.
I'm saying there's always going to be exceptions to every rule.
There's some great agents out there.
Especially if the agent's got 20 years under their belt. Blah blah blah. But I'm talking in general. If the first time you work with an agent, it's get in the car. That's a red flag.
Let's put it this way: a really good agent is probably going to say, "You know what? Things have changed so much. You probably need to talk to a lender, make sure you qualify before we move forward, because I don't want you getting your hopes up if you've got things to work on, because it's usually not a matter of if you can buy, it's usually a matter of when. And timing is everything, and managing your expectations is so important in this process. So maybe you can't buy this week, but what if you can buy in 6 months from now? You're still in a fantastic situation, but you have to manage your expectations.
I like it. That's sound advice. Go sit with the lender first. Sit with the person who can help. And
don't be afraid to hear no.
Let's create a plan. Yeah.
Right.
But we talked earlier about down payment assistance programs, and you guys are good for digging those crazy ones up. It takes time.
Oh yeah.
So you need to give these people time to help find you the best process or way, and maybe even find you some money. Frank, you were going to say something.
I was just going to say, as a buyer, I think that just as much as a buyer, when you're going to a lender, you should be asking a lot of questions, 10 questions, or as many questions as you could put on the table. If you, when you first meet an agent, if they're not asking you a lot of questions and they're just, like we said, just saying, let's get in the car and go see the property, there may be something wrong there too. Because I don't necessarily see a big issue with someone approaching an agent and the agent asking you questions, getting a feel for what you're looking for, and then saying, okay, well, let's go take a look at some properties in the area you're interested in, but I just let you know right now we're showing you so you can see what you're getting for the prices there.
There you go.
But first and foremost, we need to know if you're qualified for this area.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's something I would do for two reasons. Of course, to help that person, and if I don't do it, there might be some sneaky Pete guy out there that's going to stray them in the wrong direction.
Wouldn't you also do it because it could really waste everybody's time if you don't do it that way?
Yeah.
And I'm talking about not only the consumer, but you could be wasting the real estate professional's time as well.
Right.
So, and when I first saw the topic, Scott, I was wondering if that's where we were going to go with it. But I like it, and I think it's, again, the reason we have this show is to empower the consumer, educate the consumer, give them some things to think about. We can't go out and tell everybody do this, but we can certainly make some suggestions and hope that it helps them in the process. And the real estate industry now is totally different than it was 7 years ago. And so there's a lot of educating that needs to be done, hopefully through the show and the website and all that type of stuff.
We're hoping we can be proactive here, because the only reason I have so much experience with this is because we write about it a lot on the site. So all the calls that I get are the people that already got burned. And so then they go online to try to find out why they got burned.
It was the lack of education several years ago that caused this whole situation.
And you know what? They almost always say, you know what? I kind of sensed something. I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
You'll hear that a lot.
And I think
you get the little deer ears go up.
We're going to remind everybody again that the group here and a number of other professionals in the marketplace put on a workshop last Wednesday of every month. In February, it's cool because it's on leap year, February 29th. You can get information at helplongbeach.com, and in the workshop we will do things and talk about things like we do on the show. And you can actually get hooked up right there with someone who can get you the answers you need as far as this. What can I buy?
Come down and pick our brains.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Take advantage of this workshop.
Eat
it's
free
free.
food.
You get some free food, but you get anywhere between 4 and 8 local professionals sitting down, taking the time to answer your questions. To register for that, just go to helplongbeach.com and come on down and spend some time and get your questions answered. So
Don't judge
really
me
cool.
for my pigginess, though.
Don't judge me. I don't want to be judged.